Hey everyone, it's Tom Karadza, and we're talking about gold and silver, how to buy gold and silver. This is actually 10 ounces of pure silver put into the form of a skull. You pay a little bit more to get it this way because there's more work involved than buying just straight up bullion, but it's fun sometimes to get stuff like this. But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. We get asked this question a lot. How do you buy gold and silver in Canada? It's really not that complicated, but because it's not discussed or shared that often, I think a lot of people get confused by it. So let's break this out. Let me just put myself into the corner of the screen here, and we'll start on Google. The first thing you want to do is check out the gold spot price, and the gold spot price is always going to be reported in US dollars. So you can see as the time I'm doing this, it's $1,862. Actually, I have some Kitco sites already open. I can show you the US price. So there it is again, 1857. Let me refresh that. Where's that right now? 1858. So that's the live gold price, but that's in US dollars. And as Canadians, we want to know the Canadian spot price because that's the price we're going to be buying it when we go to a dealer to buy physical gold and silver. So you can go to Kitco's website. I have the tab open here. Let me just refresh it to see what we're dealing with in Canadian dollars here. So it's $24.95 Canadian per ounce of gold. And that's going to change a lot depending on the value of the Canadian dollar in relation to the US dollar. So because the gold is priced out in US dollars, if the Canadian dollar gets stronger, we can actually get more gold for our Canadian dollar. As the Canadian dollar gets weaker, we have to pay a higher price for the physical gold and silver that we're buying. So that was the gold price. Let me show you the silver price on Kitco's website as we're doing this. This is the US spot price. So it's just over $22 right now. So silver is moving a bit here, $22. And the Canadian price of it is $30. So just over $30 for an ounce of silver in Canadian dollars. So after you've kind of figured out, here, what are the prices per ounce, because that's how you're going to be buying it typically, by the ounce or a portion of an ounce. You can go over to different dealers here in Canada and make your physical gold and silver purchase. One of the things that we did early on is we just found people who were selling gold and silver almost at the back of their store. Nick and I found some stamp dealers and some jewelers that were selling physical gold and silver bullion out of their stores, and that's where we went. It was once we were doing this for a little bit longer, we thought, hey, we should probably get a little more sophisticated and find out who the Canadian Mint uses as their authorized dealers. Because we figured if we used an authorized dealer from the Canadian Mint, which is a highly respected mint globally, our chances of buying real gold and silver are probably a lot higher if we're using someone who's authorized by the Canadian Mint. So on their website, so this is just mint.ca, on their website, they have a dealer locator, and we found Canadian Coin and Currency on here in Richmond Hill, and we've been kind of using them ever since. They have a physical store in Richmond Hill, and they also have a website that you can buy online and they'll ship to you and that whole thing. And you'll see there's different dealers right across Canada. This is another popular website, silvergoldbull.com. I didn't even realize that they were based out of Alberta. I know a bunch of people who use them. So there's different dealers right across the country listed here that you can kind of check out. So that's what we did. And then we started going to canadiancoin.com or Canadian PMX. And I'll show you that website. So if I bring that up here, this is canadianpmx.com. So this is the web store of Canadian Coin and Currency. And now on here, I can go to gold bars and we can look at the price of the gold bars on here. And I just want to point out a difference. So you'll notice that a 1 ounce gold bar, and this is a Royal Canadian Mint gold bar. So these are ones we like right from the Canadian Mint. That's really nice. It's $26.19. If I flip back to the Canadian price of a gold on the Kitco website, you see how it's $24.95. So you're always going to be paying a premium. That's just how it works. So when there's demand for gold and silver, as there is right now, these dealers increase their premium. I think we're really going to see that in silver in a second. So not only does the premium change, but also they make a commission when you buy and sell. They have a small fee when you buy and sell. That's how dealers make their money. But it's really weird that a lot of people think the price that you're going to buy gold and silver for on the street from one of these dealers is just the price that you're going to see when you Google it up. And that's not really the case. And it can be somewhat misleading because when gold and silver gets really popular, so for example, in March when COVID really started breaking out, a lot of people rushed to buy gold and silver, and the premiums went through the roof. So if you went to a dealer to buy gold and silver, you were paying a substantial amount more than the price that was being reported online. So there's a big disconnect that, on what really happens on the streets versus what's being reported as the official price of gold and silver. So here's the 1 ounce price. It's $26.19 for an ounce of gold here. And if we flip over to gold coins, you'll notice a coin is going to be a little bit more. Let's see if there's a 1 ounce equivalent. Yeah, so here's a Canadian gold maple. That's like the gold standard, if you will. That sounds ridiculous to say that the Canadian gold maple is the gold standard, but that is a really well-respected 1 ounce coin. And see how it's slightly more. It's not $26.19 or whatever that was, $26.17, $19 that the 1 ounce bar was. It's $26.53. And the reason for that is coins apparently have a little bit more labor involved in creating them, so they're priced out a little higher. That's pretty normal. And you can see on here, you can get coins from all over the place. There's an Australian gold coin. There's a United States gold buffalo. Personally, I prefer the Canadian gold maples. And those are right there. We can look at silver and go to silver bars. Let's see what there's silver. So there's no 1 ounce bar of silver right now available. You have to buy, the minimum is 10 ounces. But you can see the disconnect between the price we checked for silver. Remember the price, if I flip back to it really quickly here, silver, the 1 ounce price is $30. But if I go back to the website to get, this is 10 ounces, but you can see per ounce, it's like $34. So we're paying more than whatever we're seeing. So you look at the US price, then you have to figure out the Canadian price. Then the dealers are going to have their own premiums on this stuff based on their own supply and demand and their fees and that kind of stuff. And if we flip over on the silver website here to silver coins, we can see that we're going to find some silver coins. I hope they have one. Yeah, they have a nice Canadian silver maple right now, but you can see that's even higher. So again, a coin is going to be more expensive than a bar. And then based on the demand for different product, there's going to be different premiums. So even though we're seeing online right now that an ounce of silver in Canadian dollars is $30, to get an ounce physically in your hand, you're going to be paying $38 for it, right? The reason silver is really nice compared to gold is if you're just starting out with this stuff, you can get yourself some real precious metals, real gold and silver bullion, and you can start at $38 because 1 ounce of silver is $38. And if you flip back to gold, I don't know how much they have. You can get smaller amounts of gold than an ounce. Actually, they don't have, it doesn't look like they have. I wonder under the coins if they have it. You can typically get it half an ounce, quarter ounce. There's a quarter ounce over here. So a quarter ounce of this Australian gold kangaroo. So you can, that's $736. Yeah, they don't have as much product as they normally have. So demand for this stuff is really high. Sometimes they have a lot more options in smaller denominations. And so other websites might have it. That's something you might want to check out. But that's basically how you do it. You walk into the store, or you go on a website like this, you decide if you want to buy a bar or a coin and in what denominations. Or you can use some of the Canadian banks. I know a bunch of people who have used them. Nick and I have not really, but this is TD, different banks. I think Bank of Nova Scotia got out of this game and they're not selling direct to their customers anymore, gold and silver bullion. But here's TD's website. I personally like the dealers. I don't know. I don't like going through the banks for this stuff, but they're selling Swiss 1 ounce fine gold. It looks like TD branded gold. I just like going through Mint authorized dealers. There is a Royal Canadian Mint bar right there. So if I was going to buy anything, and they do have a Canadian gold maple. So you can kind of shop around the prices here a little bit and see where you're going to get the better price. They're all going to be pretty close. And you typically have to be a customer of that bank to use their precious metals store. And again, I don't think all Canadian banks are even doing this anymore. And then lastly, if you don't want to get the physical in your hand because you have some money inside an RRSP or something like that you don't want to cash out, but you want physical gold and silver, one of the best funds that we found for that are Eric Sprott's stuff. This is the Sprott Physical Bullion Trust, and there is a gold fund. And if you pull up the fact sheet on the gold and the silver fund, you can see that they are fully allocated. that the trust only holds fully allocated and unencumbered precious metals. So really, when you invest in this fund, apparently there is a 1-to-1 allotment on whatever money is invested in this fund to the actual physical gold held wherever they're holding it. I think they hold it at the Canadian Mint, actually, is I think where Eric Sprott stuff is held. So if you don't want to get the physical stuff in your hand, you can use a Sprott fund like that. And I'm sure there are a few other ones. They're just kind of hard to find funds that are actually fully backed by the precious metals that you're investing into. A lot of the stuff that you see online, like some of these index funds and stuff, you're not really buying gold. You're just buying a fund that tracks some of the prices. Some of them have some amount of gold behind them, but really that wasn't the purpose of this particular video. We wanted to show you how you buy gold and silver and in Canada, and that's basically the process. Find a dealer, decide if you're going to buy gold and silver, what denominations, and then you can go online and have it shipped, or you can go in. If you've never been to a dealer in person, and if you're in the Toronto area, I would highly recommend it. We're not affiliated with them at all, but going into the Richmond Hill store and seeing all the product, they'll print out the price list right there for you because the spot prices are changing and the Canadian dollar is changing. So really, they're going to give you the prices on the counter, though. They'll print them out and tell you what everything's selling for. And then if you go back 3 or 4 hours later, it could be different prices. So this is a real-time game. That's it for now. Hopefully you find that useful. Until next time, your life, your terms.